Here at EnZari we love Italian cars, whether it's the classic or the modern. More often than not it's the modern cars we get to road test, which is great, but every now and again we'll find ourselves being able to get our hands on something a little bit different. So today we find ourselves in Wales with the electric classic cars, and this is a Fiat 500l, and yes, this is electric. So a Fiat 500l. The guy behind all this is Richard from Electric Classic Cars, and he's going to tell us a little bit about where the idea came from and what's involved.
Yeah, no worries. So here at Electric Classic Cars we've been converting iconic classics now for probably about 3, maybe 4 years total. And we take iconic classic cars from the 60s and 70s, classic case in point if you like, and convert them to electric. And we do everything from small little cars like Fiat 500s and Minis, all the way up to you know, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Range Rovers. But this is one of my favourite cars because it's A, such an iconic, cute car, but B, I feel it improves it over what the original car was, which is a controversial thing to say on a Petrolheads channel. But I come from the Petrolhead world, so I'm allowed to say it. So my background, if you like, I've had classic cars all my life,
right,
and I've done things like the British Historic Rally Championship for 7 years in a classic Porsche. So I've done that whole modifying a classic, building race engines, spending tens of thousands of hours building engines, and I just wanted to go faster. That's a simple, like.
So it's about speed. It's not about saving the planet particularly.
Not really, not for me. You know, and there's people out there that say, well, electric is good, it saves the planet. Well, yeah, that's a great byproduct of the fact that electric cars are faster, more reliable, less maintenance, in fact zero maintenance to do. So there's so many other benefits from my side of things, coming from a Petrolhead's point of view, that just simply wanted to go faster and more reliably faster. Than, you know, looking at it from the green perspective, which is a great, you know, as I say, byproduct, but from my perspective I just wanted to go faster than the guy next to me.
Okay, and you pick a 500 to go fast?
Not necessarily to go fast. I probably wouldn't pick a Fiat 500 to go fast, but we do these because these make ideal city cars. So I mean, if you think in London, zipping around the streets of London, you've got essentially a go and a stop type of affair on the pedals, so you're not changing gear all the time and stuff. It's zero congestion charge, it's zero road tax, and you know, a small car like this, it's only got about a 75-mile range, which in London you struggle to do in a week sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it just lends itself perfectly to London and that sort of like cool hipster sort of vibe as well.
So you've got the classic car that makes the modern world that bit more fun.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what we try to do with electric classic cars. Is we try to build cars that are fast, fun, and cool. That's those are the three. If we can get all three into a car, I'm a happy man.
Job done. I think it's very impressive. So under here is where all the magic is it?
Yeah, that's where the business end is, if you like. So, looks a bit cleaner than the original.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's a little bit packed in there, but if you think about it, we've essentially put the engine and the fuel tank and everything all in here, although there is a battery pack at the front. But I'll give you a quick tour. So the motor is something that you can't see, and we've got one actually just in the shed here, so I'll get it out later. But the motor is underneath, and that bolts onto the original gearbox.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hidden. Then this big black box here is the main battery pack. So you've got 2 Tesla batteries in there out of a Tesla Model S.
Right.
So there's 2 Tesla batteries in there. That's the charger. You've got a controller there for the motor, so that's essentially controlling the amount of throttle signal that's required to give the amount of amps into the motor, etc.
Yeah.
And then that's your main isolator, and that's about it really. I mean, all you need to make it, as I say, all you really need to make an electric car go, in simple terms, is a motor and some batteries.
Okay, well that said, I think maybe we should go out in it.
Alright.
So we've seen what's at the back of the car and what you've done.
Yep.
So what's happening at the front?
So first of all, the front's probably worth showing you the little charge socket. So there's the charge socket underneath there. That's
very
where you
neat.
Plug it into. And then the other thing, which was an added bonus that I didn't even think of when we started the conversion, is the fact that the petrol tank normally sits here. So
Okay.
a little bit like a VW Beetle, your luggage normally smells of fuel by the time you get out, but equally there's a big space that's taken up by a fuel tank. Now taking that fuel tank out, we've freed up a lot of space in here, so it's actually a decent sized, well I say decent sized boot, it's a
better size.
a better sized boot than the original Fiat.
You'd not want to be locked in there for any length of time, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, a family trip with camping equipment and stuff might be a struggle, but hey, you know, buy a roof rack.
Fair enough. Right, so we're inside, very comfortable cabin, quite close. I noticed this is telling us our battery power at the moment, is it, Richard?
That's right, yeah, so that's essentially our 21st century fuel gauge. So at the moment we've got 93.8% battery, and as we drive that'll deplete, and just gives you an idea as to how far you got to go.
Okay, well let's start it up and
it's a complicated procedure. Are you ready?
Yes, do I need to take notes?
There you go.
That's it, just
That's it.
switch the key.
If you can switch on the light bulb, that's about as complicated as it gets. That's now on. So if I put my foot, I'll put it in gear for a start. If I put my foot down, right away. Silently.
There's no noise, yeah, there's no rattling and...
No, the noisiest bit will be the demister. There you go, demister's on.
That's really weird, driving and there's no noise.
In fact,
in a classic car, I could understand it as a modern car, electric, no noise, fine, but this is a classic Fiat 500l and there's no noise.
Oh, there'll be enough road noise, don't worry about that. The gearbox will more than make up for the engine, as you'll see. It's certainly not silent, and no classic car will be silent, even if you turn off the engine. But it's, yeah, certainly a simple car to drive. I mean, it's just, I put it in third gear there, and you set off in third gear, and you leave it in third gear. I mean, third gear is probably good enough to get you up to 60 miles an hour, and anybody that's had a classic Fiat 500 knows that 60 miles an hour is probably about as fast as you ever want to go.
It's as safe as you want to be, yeah.
And the beauty is, because with electric motors you get maximum torque from 0 RPM. Essentially, I'm in third gear now and I've stopped. I'm just going to put my foot down, and away we go.
Now there's a little bit of noise there, I can hear that.
There you go. I don't necessarily like cars to be silent. I think, you know, you still need to engage with the car, and you know, your senses still need to engage through, you know, feel, sound, smell, and we don't want to detrimentally take anything away from owning a classic car. So as you can see, there's no carbon fibre dash here, there's no, you know, completely reimagining the 21st century a new dashboard. This is completely still 100% Fiat 500.
Absolutely.
And you know, the feel, the nature, the driving, etc. is all still Fiat 500. It's just that instead of a petrol motor in the back, it's an electric motor.
So it doesn't alter the way it handles or feels at all?
It's still, apart from the fact that when you put your foot down, it starts to go.
Now that's quite quick for anything, let alone a 500 classic.
Yeah. I mean, it's got 47 horsepower motor, and people online will probably, you know, correct me if I got it wrong, so I won't try to guess what the original horsepower of the Fiat 500 motor is, but I know it's not 47 horsepower.
No.
But the thing is with electric, that's 47 horsepower, if you like, from 0 RPM, so you get maximum torque from 0 RPM. So it's not horsepower from 0 RPM, it's maximum torque from 0 RPM. So you've got, you know, the same amount of power, if you like, underneath your foot from 0 all the way up to, you know, 60 miles an hour.
So you could effectively have a classic car, go green and stay clean.
There you go, I like that one.
No changing gear and that.
Makes it all easier though.
Noise.
It's less, I think it's stressless driving in a classic.
Yes, well that's good. A good thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I say, I've driven and owned lots and lots of classic cars, and it can be a little bit stressful sometimes. There's strange noises and strange, like, you know, oh, that wasn't there yesterday, what's that? Are we going to break down? What's that whining noise? And the whole just like go, stop mentality takes all that away. So you find you enjoy the journey more.
So for classic car owners out there who are thinking, oh, electric is the enemy, this, that, and the other, this isn't sacrilege, is it?
I don't think so now, and it's reversible as well, don't forget. So all we've we've done is we've bolted an electric motor to the gearbox. So if somebody, you know, did want to in years to come put the petrol engine back in for some bizarre reason, you can just unbolt it, put it back in, and everything goes back on.
Really that straightforward?
Completely reversible. It's all bolted.
That's amazing.
In fact, we've got a kit at home that's going to San Francisco, and it's a bolted kit to a guy out in San Francisco that's going to convert his own car.
Wow.
So anyway, this is a rarity. A Fiat 500 being kept, you know, kept from accelerating by a modern car.
I'm actually tempted to try and overtake it, but I know I shouldn't.
I wouldn't, not around here. But it means that, you know, electrifying these classics, it means that with additional power, you can keep up with modern traffic. Usually, that's not the case. And usually, you know, you've got lorries and stuff behind you, beeping the horns and come on, pull over.
Yeah. With this whole save the planet thing that's going on at the moment in electric cars, do you see this a way of conserving the classic cars for the future as well?
There is that element to it, yeah. I mean, you've got in cities like Paris and London, you've got emissions zones, and I mean, and rightly so, because the air quality in the cities is just awful. I've got friends that are suffering from respiratory conditions that, you know, cycle into work in London, and it's because of the air quality there, and they've been, you know, fighting for years and years. So anything that improves the air quality is a good thing. And then, you know, having electric cars in an urban environment makes perfect sense. There's no emissions. Now you'll have certain people out there saying, "Oh yeah, but coal-fired power stations, that's where electricity comes from." No, the decarbonisation of the grid in the UK and so many other countries is huge at the moment. I mean, the amount of power we get from coal in the UK is a fraction as to what it used to be. The renewables from wind, from solar, gas turbine, nuclear, etc. Coal-fired power stations are just something of yesteryear now. I mean, for me, I'm lucky. I have solar panels on my house, and you know, most of the time the car gets charged up off the solar panels. I've got a battery pack actually that the solar panels charge up the battery pack that then charges up the car. So as much as I can,
do you really have gone for the eco? Yeah. So this is great. I mean, this is really, really fantastic, and you almost convincing me. But down to the nitty-gritty, what kind of cost is it involved? You haven't mentioned the cost. What cost would it be to do this car, let's say?
A typical cost for a Fiat 500 conversion is about, for us to convert it for them, about 20 grand.
Right.
And then
plus the price of the car.
Plus the price of the car. So it's not a cheap process yet. No. But battery technology and pricing, everything's coming down, and the more we build, the more cost effective that will be. But at the moment, it's quite a pricey process. And there's options that we can do. We can put a more powerful motor in, if you're brave enough for it. A bigger battery pack, a faster charger. So you know, you can spend up to 25 grand to convert to 500 if you wanted to.